Welcome to Africa this week. I'm Abubakar, Sadiq, Ibrahim. In this episode, we're going to have a businessman, a banker by profession, and a philanthropist, and a politician, senatorial candidate for Kogi East at the National Assembly for 2022 election. Victor Alewo Adoji. You're welcome to Africa this week, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, it's my honor.
I have been very busy. You previously in 2019, you contested for Senate seat on behalf of Kogi East. You were not successful. Earlier, because of that, we went for ABC, African Democratic Congress. We went here because really good people they are really to contest. But despite that, we were not successful. The adventure of coming to the politician. After 19 or 18 years in banking business. Then this time around again, we have decided to come up, we went back to PDP and emerge as a candidate for senatorial seat representing Kogi East on the platform of PDP. You have been very busy. First of all, I'd like to, what motivates you to go into politics? After 19 or 18 years, you're resuming back. What motivates you? It's your upbringing, it's your association with people, or the kindness of human heart. Why do you go into politics? Give us your background, sir.
Well, Sadiq, Mr. Sadiq Ibrahim.
Abubakar Sadiq Ibrahim.
Abubakar Sadiq Ibrahim, let me first or foremost thank you for the privilege of availing me your platform to say a word or two. I've heard your brief introduction, even though most of the premises are wrong. They are wrong in the sense that I did not go to the ADC to run for office, haven't failed with the PDP. There are certain intricacies, that premised that decision. And for the sake of healing, I do want to take a deep dive into what happened. But like you said, I actually went into the ADC, and when I heard people say that I was unsuccessful at that election, I began to ask them how they delineate or define success. Because what happened was that I didn't get a certificate of return, but I was successful at that election. We all know what happened at that election. And what happened at that election is one of the reasons, or one of the Phillips, or one of the, encouragements, that made me to run, a second time this time around. So the word unsuccessful doesn't seem to be the right prefix to qualify what happened in that election. I won't take much time to explain what happened, but I know what happened to the extent that they don't in any way define lack of success. Now, having said that, this is not the first time I'm engaging in politics the way we understand it. I was union president at University of Jos, that was in the 90s, and I've engaged in a number of student endeavors or community endeavors, across board. From village level to the town level to the community level to the national level and even the international level. So my understanding of politics goes beyond partisanship the way it is understood today. So what is my motivation? My motivation is absolutely service, to make the life better for the next person. I've been able to enjoy life across a broad spectrum. I've been down there, I've been up there, and I've been at the middle. And I know what it takes, to jerk people out of being down there to getting them either at the middle or putting them up there. So essentially, my motivation is to create a platform for other people who have bigger potential, better potential, to thrive. So the motivation is just to create the platform, for equalization, sort of. The fact that you are the son of a wealthy A, B, and C does not give you any right, to superintend over the son of the pauper, XYZ. We must be able to function on the same platform so that merit, can explicate us or can advance us or can announce us to the world. So my, incursion or my involvement in politics is basically to see how we can, one, equalize, two, create a platform for people to actually, enunciate their, their creativities or their potentials.
Okay, this is, you see, politics. After, like I said earlier, during my introduction, I talked to you about, over a decade, almost 2 decades in banking profession. A bank is a place where, these days anyway, people don't succeed very much. Even the kind who spend 8 years, they are gone. They spend there almost 2 decades with a bank. And that is very incredible what I must admit that. Now, when you live there, you are still, when I call you a businessman, you are still consulting. Because each time I talk to you, either you are somewhere consulting or doing something or investment for somebody, you are described as a thinker, as a manager, as somebody who is maybe financial advisors. Correct me if I'm wrong. But what I'm trying to find out from you is where do you find time for politics? I know you are an experienced, politician in the past when you were in the school. And you have enormous academic, very deep, qualifications. What I'm trying to say is that, when you look at other countries, I was reading some time ago, a friend said something to me and he said, look, in the United States, in Russia, these people, for instance, the Russian president Putin is a lawyer. Biden of the United States is a lawyer. You go to Germany, Angela Merkel, the chancellor, is a PhD holder in physical chemistry. But here, when you come to in Nigeria here, you find a lot of people without work, even one way or the other, and get into politics. You are supposed to be probably a professor somewhere, still studying. And how do you think you find time to combine politics and academic? In this, you are still busy. Where do you find time for politics at the moment?
Well, when people ask me or any other person how they find time, to indulge in multiple activities at the same time, I often retort by asking a simple question: what is the capacity of a human brain? What is the capacity of a human brain? You see, you are only as tall as your ambition, and you are only limited by yourself. It's about mindset. Working for one of the most sophisticated banks in Nigeria, and arguably the best bank in Nigeria, I was able to evolve a PhD in 2012. I was able to get another PhD, in 2017. Shortly before I left the bank. And whilst I was still there, I started a third PhD in the University of Nsukka, for which I was awarded last year. In between my first degree or second or third degree I came into the institution with, I was able to wipe as many as about 5 master's degrees. The only difference between me and the next person was that I decided to vote my time or vote my attention to improving myself. It's like saying, where does a banker find time to support a football club? Where does a banker find time to read? Where does the banker find time to do other things? So it's about apportioning, or apportioning or allotting your time to those things you find fulfillment in. Reading, acquiring knowledge, has always been my my go-to place and my forte. It's my first love. So it comes to me naturally. Now, you are trying to say here, then how do I mix, the vocation, of politics with the business of academics? I have answered that in just this introduction. For me, politics is a vocation, and academics for me is, for me is livelihood. So mixing it doesn't even arise. Because for you to have a very, very good politician, for you to have successful politicians like the governor of Akwa Ibom State, or like what Zulum is doing in Borno, then you must be able to actually bring new knowledge, into the political hemisphere. And that is what makes them different. So if you are not a reader or a knowledge seeker, then you won't be a good administrator. Administrators are politicians. So they actually go together. So for you to turn the bend, on certain issues, or to ingeniously or creatively bring about solutions to extant problems, you must be a reader. So politics and academics or education seeking or knowledge seeking always go together. So they are not. It's not as if they are strange bedfellows. For anybody who must succeed, then you must have the requisite, at best, the basic knowledge that will see you through. It's like telling me, why will you buy a car and always go to a filling station? You need the fuel to drive the car. In your introduction, you had mentioned the bindings of this world, the puttings of this world. So you can see why they performed. They performed because they had the basic, at least, knowledge, of how to advance, their understanding in the field of politics. The reason why we're where we are could simply be because you have people who don't have even the basic knowledge, and then they find themselves in high offices, and then they tell you, no, just jump down the cliff, develop your wings on the way down. Sometimes you don't develop those wings and you crash, and that's why Nigeria is crashing,
So, the other day, I was coming in preparation to this meeting. So you still got 2 PhD, you got 1.5 master degree. When I was talking to you the other day, you say, I'm working on the program and I want to complete it. Is that also another master degree or is it one PhD?
You see, I would want the emphasis. I would want the emphasis to be on my knowledge endowment, and not even the certificates, because you can have people who have piles of certificates. Okay, well, until the day I bring my last, I will still be in the enhancement project. I enhance myself day to day. I left university in the 90s as an economist. Some of the things I studied in 1990s are not tenable today. So until you are someone who renews knowledge, who enhances knowledge, then you just find yourself either as a ubiquitous personality or an analog personality in the digital world. So I have to continue self-renewal. For me, is education. There are some models we used. Well, when I read economics in the 90s, that was actually when Nigerians started knowing what they call econometrics. And even at that time, modeling hasn't started. Today, you cannot bring economic solutions without modeling them. In those days, when they say, we want to discuss inequality, what you hear people say is Gini coefficient. Then it's applicable today. But today there's a topic 4 and Groster model. These are new models that are coming up. So if you don't study, then how do you know? In those days when they discuss poverty, they say, poverty in Egume can be the same as poverty in Okula. Poverty in Okula is the same as poverty in Ida. But now we know that poverty is multidimensional. And poverty in a locality is actually different from poverty in the next locality. So we asked the wrong questions when I studied economics. Today they're asking the right questions. In those days, we were meant to believe poverty was a revenue problem. So when somebody is poor, give them money so they can get out of poverty. But today we now know that it is wrong. That poverty is not a revenue problem, it is an innovation problem. So if you don't keep studying and you don't keep enhancing yourself, how then do you bring to bear solutions in the 21st century with 19th century knowledge? That won't work. That is why studying, education, knowledge seeking will be my forte, it will be my guiding principle until the day I break my last.
In politics, your antecedents is very huge. I found out that you bring a lot at school, you help the young children, you care. Are you born with golden spoon in your mouth, or you turn yourself to have golden spoon in your mouth?
Well, I have not seen a golden spoon before, and I don't know what that means. All I know is I didn't struggle to go to school. I'm one of the few privileged people who didn't struggle to go to school. You know, if that is what it means to be born with a golden spoon.
Yes.
I didn't struggle to go to school. I didn't struggle to get by as a youth growing up, you know, because to a large extent, my parents could provide, if that's what you mean by...
What I'm trying to... The reason I ask these questions, given to the antecedents of what you have done for people, less privileged, in the society, your hometown, and other places, even you went as far as Kogi and other places, to do things. What I'm trying to say is that there was a time in your village that brought up a community secondary school, and you single-handedly for over 12 years were paying school fees of teachers. You know, I have to ask you this and what I've read about you, because I'm sitting with you now, and you are looking at the people in Kogi East, whom you are planning, by God's grace, to represent.
Let me tell you what.
Let
me tell you what I will.
Why do you have? What do you have that motivation?
Let me
Why
tell you
do
what.
You like this so much? You know, to do this for the people. You know, just like some people say, I've suffered in the past. I have been going around all these years. Then I see people. Then God helped me, brought me out. And,
let me tell you what gives me. Let me tell you what gives me the most joy.
Yes.
Anybody can be rich tomorrow and decide to plow back to the system. You can build primary schools, you can build sink boreholes, anybody can do that. But you see, for me, what gives me joy is the laughter I'm able to put on the face of the next person. Right from the day, from when I finished university, just shortly before I was waiting to be called up for service, I was in Muslim high school in Aimba. I was in community secondary school in Ejule, and another secondary school in Ida, where I was going to teach them mathematics, economics, I think, and English. Particularly in the community secondary school in Ejule. Those three subjects, by the time I was done with them, I think the WAEC results showed that they had the highest number of credits by any season, any session that year. So for me, it's actually, having a saying thank you to God. Beneath all this, there's the issue of faith. Beneath all this, there's the issue of saying, when you lay your head to rest finally, what will people say about you? Like I said, my happiness is incomplete until I make the next person happy. If providing schools within the limits of my ability, refurbishing roads within the limits of my ability, or one thing or the other. But some of this I never mentioned because it's my style. Yeah. That's why I say when you address me as a politician, I almost retorted. I said I'm a professional in politics. I'm not a politician. I'm not one to give you a gift of 10,000. Then I'll call the cameras to spend 100,000 putting it out there for people to see. Yeah. So that is not my style. So I'm a professional in politics. The little I've been able to do, I've done because I think God blessed me. And then the more I'm going to do, I will do based on how God blesses me. That's why I'm more than sure, that God is willing and able. And by the time He does it, you are going to have a different ball game, come 2023.
Having said that, what do you have for the people of community?
People of community representation. That is first and foremost, they need to establish some ground rules. And one of the major tripods, of the three legs it stands on is, a remarkable understanding of people you want to represent. Sitting here, I will tell you, Igala land is blessed with about 2,100 plus communities, places you can call villages, and as much hamlets. Igala land, as I speak to you today, when I say Igala, I'm talking from Ibaji to Basa Basa, to Omala, and all. Today, as I talk, I've lost 8 communities, especially from Ibaji, where as at 2012, of the 97 communities in Ibaji, 8 have been washed away, by recurrent floods. As I speak to you, the people in Shintaku cannot cross just a stretch of a 105, meter bridge, to be able to access the headquarters in Oguma. As I speak to you, all you need to have a handshake with somebody in Toto, in Nasarawa, is by the bridge from Aganabode, from Bagana to Nasarawa. All you need to be able to travel from Igala land to Lagos in less than 7-8 hours, Cheteris Parables, is just to have a bridge across, the Ida channel to Aganabode. Now, what I just told you are just 3 bridges that will open up Igala land. As it is today, Igala land is landlocked, airlocked, and waterlocked. You cannot circumvent Igala land by water. It's not possible, because there are some places where you don't have the channel. You cannot go around Igala land by air. We don't have an airport. We don't need it temporarily, momentarily. 2, you can even go around Igala land by road. Why? Because you don't have bridges to connect. Opening up Igala land from the Aganabode axis, the Toto axis, Sitaku axis, and Bagana axis will more than enhance the economy of Igala by as many as 30 basis points. Just by vehicular human movement. These things are things that can, except the one for Shintaku, are things that actually are within the purview of the federal government's exclusive list. My job as your senator is to bring the attention or the cries of the Igala people to the national arena. That's why I themed, my movement as making Nigeria work for all Kogi Easterners. I would ordinarily have said making Nigeria work for Igala Basa people, but I won't say that. Do you know why, sir? Do you know that up to about 13% of our voters in Igala land are Igbo people? Or people from Igbo Hausa Yoruba people. So if I say for Igala Basa people, that I will have ostracized them. That's what I say for every Kogi Eastern, anyone who is resident there. Number 2, my job will be, I agree totally with the 5-point agenda of His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, my presidential candidate. My job will be to hold him to account in a manner that it delineates and defines the way it affects my people. So it's not for me here to begin to rate what others did or did not do. It's for me here to begin to make sure that what is being said about those people is never said about me anymore. Sitting right here, I have 7 bills already I have prepared.
And you tell us about it?
Well, it may be too early for me to say that, but I'll just give you a snippet.
You don't want them to steal your...
No, you see, let me tell you, they may steal it, okay. But it will not be original to them.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. You see, each time we talk about Nigeria's economy, there's one terrible thing that people mention all the time. They call it the gross domestic product, the GDP.
Yeah.
Now, even illiterates apply it. But do you know, sir, that the originator of the GDP, Simon Kuznets, in 1930s, actually warned the whole world that it is not in any way a good measure of economic progress. 80, 90 years after, we kept using that same metric. But let me tell you what it does, sir. If you buy guns to destroy people, it reflects positively in your GDP. If you're able to push drug money into the system, it reflects positively on the GDP. But what the GDP does is that it captures the total amount of production in Nigeria by Nigerians and foreigners. The question therefore is that how many companies do you even own as Nigerians? So it's actually capturing foreign GDP. So I am intent on requesting or pushing out a bill that will show a migration from the emphasis from GDP to another metric they call the SPI, but which will now make the GDP a component of the SPI. Now, what does the SPI do? And what does it do? It has 3 broad spectrums. 1, it looks at opportunity. 2, it looks at impact on human beings. And then the 3rd one, I think, on infrastructure. So if somebody is the governor of a state, there should be a measuring metric where we can say, oh, when you became governor, Alhaji Sadiq, we had about 200 housing, 2,000 housing deficits. Now that you are living, what is the deficit? Have you been able to reduce it? Our governors, our local government chairmen must have an assessment yardstick. Otherwise, we won't make progress. Even in other countries who use the GDP, You know, they actually use the GDP as an absolute measure of certain level of economic progress. But most of the economies are actually controlled, you know, by what you can call the underworld economics or the private economics. You can see what is happening in China. Look at what's happening in India. Look at what's happening in Singapore. So we need to, as a country, begin to evolve a vision. Sir, if I ask you, what is the vision of Nigeria? Do you know it?
The what now?
The vision of Nigeria. Do you know it? No, you don't.
No, I don't.
Because it doesn't exist. So when you don't have a vision, then you don't have a centripetal basis or a centripetal pool that will take you, to your destination. So as a country, we need to evolve a vision. I can go on and on about what I have in terms of the educational sector, in terms of infrastructure. You see, and again, we need to make Nigerians know that cash cannot resolve our problems. That's why when I see the level of borrowing in today's government, I begin to laugh. Because they're actually seeing our problem as a revenue problem. And that's why I think cash can solve our problems. No. What you need to resolve our problem is money and not cash.
So we come back to PDP politics, which you are representing.
On the platform of PDP.
You are on their platform.
Yeah.
We are on their platform, PDP platform. You have you just returned from York before you came to sit down with me and to talk with me. And Emmanuel, is that correct? The governor of that, this Akwa Ibom. So he just came back from there. I just feel that's why I went to where we are for taking time to sit with me and talk to me and advocate this week. There is a problem at you remember you were telling me that you are going to make reference to the PDP Senatorial Candidate. That's well, you say it's not the right time at the moment, but you are going to be asking, attracting to the people of Kogi East and the nation as a whole by your competency and your motions. But what I'm trying to say is that the campaign is already on the ground. PDP has a program at the moment, and whatever is at the national level, on top of the umbrella, sometimes that race on top of the umbrella drops and comes to the ground. So the floor or things around it is a spot. There's a big problem with PDP at the moment, at the national their campaign. How can you let us inside? I know you are not a member of the campaign council. How are they going to resolve it? There is section about yesterday or the day before yesterday, a lot of people went, some political candidates, they went all the way to Rivers to go and meet Nelson Woke, the governor of Rivers State. Okay? How do you guys plan to resolve this matter? Because they want Ali to go. And nobody wants Ali to go. Or some group doesn't want Ali to go. Ali made a promise we should be going after the presidential candidate comes from the north. Not after he has won the election. And he's still sitting down there. People are worried about that we are talking about, so what's your take? The election is, whatever affects that, will come to Kogi State. And speak to us about this conflict.
I'm not very good with computer games. But one thing I've been told about computer games is that if you are gaming, that what confirms to you that you're on the right path is the number of enemies you see on your path. That's a computer game. As you keep bringing out the enemies, the more enemies you see means you're on the right path. I am using this anecdotally, to show to you that disagreements, dissents are considered normal, in partisan politics. And you hear the cliche most of the time, but this is a family affair. So I believe if you say this is a family affair, it means there's a mother to that family and there's a father to that family. I'm sure in the course of time, this will be resolved. So I'm not losing any sleep, about this. To me, it's a minor issue that will resolve in the course of time. Time heals everything. And what gives me even more joy is that the problem of the PDP can be regarded as a speck, while that of the other party, it can be regarded to as a log. Our problem, if you regard it as a problem, our challenges are at best transitory. It's in transition and it will ripple out, But the other one, for me, is actually foundational. So if you try to take it down, you take down the entire house. So people have the right, to be angry over certain things, agreement or no agreement. But I think we'll focus on delivering Nigerians out of the current bondage. The problem Nigerians face today, is much than having some balance, in the party. So the focus of even Wike himself is how to ostracize Nigerians from, the stranglehold they currently face. So also the vision of the president, our presidential candidate. So yes, we all know our destination, but we can actually get there differently. But mind you, in all of these disagreements, there was never a time, or there has never been a time, where the combatants in these current disagreements have said they will not work for the presidential party of the PDP, presidential candidate of the PDP. All of them. Wike has said he will work for the presidential candidate and he will work for the party. Atiku has said he will work in the interest of Nigerians and work for the party. So one thing people are actually missing is people are focusing on the minor things and ignoring the major. The major is that they have agreed they will work in the interest of Nigerians for the party, but there are certain issues that must be tackled. So I don't want us to cry louder than the bereaved. We have a challenge, it's not a problem, and I can assure you that before we go to the polls, that will be resolved. Even right now, as I'm speaking to you, consultations are ongoing. It's even okay that people are coming to the table. What about the other ones that don't even have, they don't even have the basis to have such, such consultations? So yes, it's a normal thing. I'm happy that the problems are there because it shows that we're alive. And then at the end of it, it will show that we are problem solvers. Will you expect a house, that's on the outside says everything is okay? Meanwhile, it's actually a dry rot situation in the house. So we have an issue, quite okay, but it's the talks are going on and it will be resolved in the fullness of time.
Walking away from this place, what's a message for the people about the election, the 2023 election coming up, the Senate seat, and your advice? We have tremendous voter apathy somewhere there. We can call people to go and collect all PVC and so on and so forth. What is your advice to them? They have carried guns before. Yeah, people, both big parties carry guns at each other, bomb houses, destroy cars. You're going to tell people of Kogi East, you're going to get up from this energy, and they say, well, this is what our senator will do, this is what you are saying to us. They're going to tell the people of Kogi East,
I want to be on record
yes,
that I will not give my son a machete, let alone a gun, to fight my political cause. And for that reason, I don't think it makes any sense that I'll encourage someone else's son or daughter, to take up arms, to defend, my cause. We have seen this in the past. And for those who have yielded, to fight people's causes using guns or all such, weapons, where are they today? When they die, their families are left to wallow in abject poverty. So people use them circumstantially. Nobody should agree to be used, to feather the nest of any politician. I won't encourage that. If that is all it takes for me to win an election, then I will never win an election. You see, the reason why some people are desperate is because, either they are bereft of ideas or they lack alternatives. Only God gives power. And when you foist yourself on people, you have the kind of things we're having, now. As for my message to the people back home, I was in Ekiti and Oshun to understand firsthand how the beavers works. And I can confirm that for the first time in a long while, votes actually count. So if people want a change, if people truly want a change, if they desire a change, they should actually go all out there, and vote for any candidate of their choice, based on the pedigree of the candidates, based on the blueprint of the candidate, based on the camaraderie of the candidate, and based on the association of the candidate with them. We know people who have track record. We know people who can deliver these votes. And they should also not forget that the four leading presidential candidates, from Kwankwaso to Obi to Tinubu and Atiku, have all hinted that restructuring will be on the cards for them. The question I want the Galabas people to ask themselves: restructuring simply means let's go to the table and negotiate our relationships. At the time that your relationships are going to be, these relationships are going to be renegotiated, who will be at the table for you? I don't need to get anybody's permission from Lugar House to speak on behalf of the Igala people. So who best to have at the table but Victor Alewo Adoji? Aside from encouraging them, I've gone beyond encouraging them to actually facilitating them to get their PVCs. There's so much that one can do, and that's as much that one has done. So we'll keep talking to them. I've done videos, I've done advertisements, calling them out to pick their PVCs. I've supported them to pick, some of them to pick their PVCs. But let me tell you how the APC government has so pulverized and polymerized Nigerians. You may think it's that easy for somebody to pay 200-300 naira transportation to go to a designated area to collect their PVCs. I'm telling you, some of our folks back in the village don't have this money. That's how bad it has become. So it's one thing to encourage them and make all the noise, but it's another thing to empower them to be able to collect. So even you who is talking, tomorrow, please, once you go, send a couple of thousands to someone, even if it's 2,000-3,000, can go there and pick. That's how bad. They desire to pick, but access in terms of capacity to go and pick is lacking. And sometimes I hate to think that it may be a deliberate ploy, but that's how bad, that's how abysmally we are falling. No wonder when they came initially, they told us it was going to be from the top to the bottom. We didn't know that they were telling us they were going to take our economy from the top to the bottom, and that they were going to take wealth from the top to the bottom. Now we are all right at the bottom. Very, very right flat at the bottom. That is why you need people like me, you need people like Atiku to come and take us from the bottom all the way to the top. So that in 2027 or thereafter, I don't need to call anyone to go and pick their PVCs because they are not picking. They will have the capacity to do that on their own. Vote buying in Nigeria is being reduced to the minuscule. And that's actually what gets me irritated. You see, it's not the votes they buy or the vote they sell, on the election that actually matters. The entire gamut of the process is actually fought with fraud. From the regulators to even the party primaries, all sorts. So what we're actually practicing in Nigeria today is a very rapid form of plutocracy, and I hope in the course of time that will change. We need to have people who don't have the means, financially speaking, financially speaking, to be able to get into offices. So until there's the emphasis on money politics, we still will not get our best. Let me tell you categorically, I'm not the best Igala has today, but I'm the best of those on the cards. I've gone to a beauty contest before with my friend, a friend and a friend's friend. And when the winner of the pageant was announced, we discovered that right at our table there was a lady that was actually more beautiful than the lady who was announced as Miss whatever. Yeah. But you know the difference? She didn't fill in to contest. But among those who filed in to contest, that lady was the best. The same thing applies to me. Yeah. I may not be the best Igala has today, but among those who have filed in to contest,
you're one of them.
I'm actually the best.
Like that. Now, having said that, we're about to conclude this conversation with you, and I've been talking with you, and I've asked several questions, and I want you to remind those people who are going to be visiting African district to watch this program and your supporters in the Kogi East. The fans and your followers, the DVAA, okay. What is it that I'm not asked you that you want to ask before we conclude this program?
Well, it's like telling me, what do you want God to add to what He's done? And then we worship a God that is all perfect. So what God, everything God has done is perfect. So I don't know what you have to add. I think I'm done with all I have to say. So I don't know what you want me to add. But then I will encourage viewers to your channel because it's a remarkable work you're doing out there. Try to, as it were, boost the political awareness and consciousness, of our people. And I will want for Igala people to patronize Igala goods and Igala services. The understanding of consumption, mostly in our climate, is something you physically have to take in your mouth. No, that people should actually learn to consume Igala-centric products like yours. So, if, for example, most of our elites, mid-income to high-income people begin to patronize your channel, it's only a matter of time before you get, the depth and the reach and become a household name. I don't know how NTA started, but I have a good history of how channels and Arise TV started. And if you keep at it,
we started before them. We started in 1993 from the United States in Baltimore, Maryland, under Inter-African Broadcasting System. And we're in Nigeria here. This is a company I founded here in Nigeria in 2004. And
well, if you started before them,
Ibrahim Global Company Limited, and I said, come in here. But like you said, we didn't have money. I know that by our persistence, there are people like
oh, that's sir.
Yes, sir.
If you started before them,
yeah,
then there should be a problem with your business model.
Yeah.
You have to go and look at your business.
No, money.
No, it's not money. I can assure you, I can tell you for free that it is ideas that drive money, not the other way around. So, if I tell I'm a consultant, I will actually consult for you for free. Tell you how you can actually move it to the next notches. I just returned from a trip to the United Kingdom with Udom Emmanuel, and we know what we got out of the trip. You see, you were thinking you needed cash to take your network to the next level. Let me conclude by telling you that you don't need cash, all you need is money. And because of the consultancy, I will explain what that means to you. I want to thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, Dr. Victor Alewo Adoji, among our candidate for Kogi East under the platform of PDP. Looking forward to see you at the red carpet.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you very much also to take your time from as a man with multiple degrees, multiple very intelligent.
The degrees don't make you intelligent. It doesn't make you knowledgeable.
It's fascinating the time you have to spend to study. Sometimes I fear studies. I feel that.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, sir. Let me close this. Thank you very much. We have been talking to Dr. Victor Alewo Adoji, candidate for Kogi East National Assembly. He's going to contest for Senate. He's been forthright with us, very academician and very intelligent person. Thank you very much for joining us next week. Abubakar.